Some places you visit don't want you to leave. Some people you meet aren't people at all. And sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you can see, but what you can't bear to look at. Tonight I'm going to tell you 3 terrifying true stories shared by those who survived them but will never forget. If you're watching this alone, make sure your doors are locked, your windows checked, and keep the lights on. Story 1: The Pumpkin Patch in the Fog. I grew up in a small rural town where the dirt roads snaked past dead cornfields, rotting wood cabins, and abandoned churches caked in dust. Most people were poor. Land was so cheap you could buy an acre for a few $1,000s. But along with the poverty came strange people, the kind city folks think only exist in scary stories. My family wasn't well off either, but at least when we got older, we could work part-time to help out. I remember one October when I was dating Kelly, a girl I met on Hot or Not. We'd been seeing each other for a few weeks and wanted to try something new, something different from the usual food joints. We drove down a road neither of us had ever taken. The sky was gray, and mist floated over the ground like a ghost's breath. Just when we were about to turn back, Kelly pointed ahead at an old wooden sign, crooked and barely legible. "Free pumpkin picking. Turn right." We followed it out of curiosity. The dirt road led to an old farmhouse hidden behind leafless trees. A rusted truck sat still by the porch. 2 elderly folks sat frozen like statues on a wooden bench. They didn't move until we stepped out of the car. The woman stood first, her face stretching into a slow, stiff smile as if she'd forgotten how to move. "Hello, dears," she rasped, her voice dry as ashes. "Pick any pumpkin you like." I asked how much. She shook her head, looking off into the fog. "Free. It chooses you." I didn't know what she meant, but we shrugged and walked toward the patch behind the house. The fog thickened like a curtain. The pumpkins were packed tight, many looking eerily identical. It felt like they were watching. I found a big smooth one and turned to thank them. But the porch was empty. No people, no voices, no sign they'd ever been there. Kelly whispered, "Let's go." I nodded, uneasy but trying to stay calm. Maybe they'd gone inside. As I backed the car out, a middle-aged man with a shadowed face stormed out of the house holding a phone. "Hey, what the hell are you doing here? I'm calling the cops." I rolled down the window. We were just picking pumpkins. That couple out front said it was okay. He shouted, face red with rage. "What couple? There's no one else here. I live alone." He snatched the pumpkin from my hands and screamed that if we ever came back, he'd shoot. We sped off. Kelly was silent the entire drive back, just gripping my hand tightly. Weeks later, my younger siblings went back out of curiosity. They met the same man. When they asked about the old couple, he repeated, "I've lived here alone for over 20 years. No rusty truck, no wooden bench, but in his living room above the fireplace was a photo of him with his parents. They died in 1997. Story 2: The Stranger in the Basement. I still remember that Halloween night, not because of the fun, but because of what followed me home. Connor was my best friend since childhood. That Saturday night, he texted me to come over. His parents were out, and only his older sister, Chantel, was home. I had nothing better to do, so I agreed. After a few hours of Xbox, we decided to hit a nearby Halloween party. Connor tossed me an old security shirt as a makeshift costume. The party was a few blocks away, packed with music, strobe lights, and the scent of booze and sweat. Teens danced, laughed, and got wasted. I caught up with some friends and swapped crazy high school stories. After a while, I felt dizzy and ready to call it a night. I found Connor flirting in the kitchen. One of the girls, I forget her name, asked me to grab some water bottles from the basement fridge. I agreed, half to be polite, half to slip out early. The basement was darker than I expected. The wooden stairs creaked. As I opened the fridge, a male voice whispered behind me, "Boo!" I jumped. A tall man in his 30s stood close, wearing a hooded cloak. He grinned like someone who enjoyed the scare. "I'm the cousin of the host," he said flatly. I took a step back. No one had mentioned any cousin. His face was half swallowed by shadows, only jagged teeth visible. "I'm just grabbing water," I mumbled and turned to leave. I didn't hear him follow, but I felt his eyes. I left the party and walked back to Connor's. Cold air outside, but I was sweating. Every step echoed behind me, not once, but twice, 3 times. I didn't look back. The house was dark. Chantel's car was gone. She must have gone out. I didn't turn on the lights, just headed straight to the basement where I usually crashed. I barely fell asleep before a loud thud echoed upstairs. Then silence. I held my breath. Then creaking. Someone walking slowly, heavily. I grabbed my phone, texting Connor, "You home yet?" No reply. Then the basement door creaked open. A dark shape stood in the doorway. The stairlight barely illuminated his face. It was him, the man from the party basement. I froze. He stood still for so long, then turned, walked away. I immediately called 911. Police arrived in 10 minutes. They found him hiding under Chantel's bed, clutching a small kitchen knife. She had just come home and was changing upstairs. She almost laid down on him. Neighbor footage showed he followed me from the party, then changed course. And followed her. Maybe I wasn't his target. Story 3, stalked in the Catskill Woods. My wife Courtney and I love fall trips, especially when the leaves turn gold. That year we picked the Catskill Mountains and booked a remote Airbnb cabin. The host, Kathy, was a sweet older woman who just messaged us the lock code. The cabin was lovely wooden walls, the scent of pine, even a game room with a pool table. All surrounded by woods and mist. The next day, we hiked Overlook Trail. On the way, we saw a woman, Melinda, leaning against a tree watching us. After a quick greeting, she asked where we were staying. I gave a vague answer. As we continued, I noticed she followed. Always behind, never catching up, never too far. Back at the cabin after dark, we ate, watched TV, and dozed off. Until knocking at the door. No one should be here. I texted Kathy. Her reply, "I'm home. No one should be there." The knocking grew louder. Then, a woman's voice from the window. "Is someone in there? I'm lost." I didn't pull the curtain. Courtney sat up pale. Then the bedroom window creaked. Someone was trying to open it. I called 911. As we waited, I peeked. A man walked past the cabin. When police arrived, no one was there. But they found deep boot prints in the mud, 3 sets. Nearby cameras showed Melinda had followed us back, then returned with 2 men. We were just an easy target. After that trip, we started carrying pepper spray, and we never tell strangers where we're staying. Each of them survived to tell the tale. But what they went through will never fade. The truth is, you never know who's watching you. You don't know if the place you're in is truly empty, and you never know which door leads straight to hell. If you enjoyed these stories, comment your thoughts below and subscribe so you won't miss the next chilling moment. And if something like this has ever happened to you, share your story. It might just become our next video.